Here's a match in the Object 430 variant 2. I've had mixed luck with this tank. I don't think I've quite gotten used to it yet. It's not quite as stealthy as the 430. It does, or not 430, the 416, sorry. It does have better armor, but it still has issues, I find, largely with artillery actually, because of the size of that engine deck. It's an easy arty target. I think also I'm just having trouble learning to handle it. I was quite good with the 416. I'm not sure what gives here. It's not a bad tank. It's got quite good armor protection, even if the it does have the engine in the front. It's behind 120mm of very steeply sloped armor. So I think it's just a case of getting used to it. It's definitely a lot more difficult to play than the actual tier 10 Object 430. Which is an absolute dream to drive. This thing, just for some quick background if you haven't played it, has 120mm frontal hull armor, upper and lower plates, steeply sloped. The front of the turret's 248mm all the way. There is a very small roof weak spot. The cupolas are not weak spots. Well, they're vertical faces, so they're going to be easy to pen, but they're still 248mm. Nearly the entire frontal projection of the turret is 248, so it is quite well armoured. Turret traverse is 180 degrees as opposed to, I believe, 170 on the 416. It will get up to about 55 kilometers an hour. It's quite fast, and the gun is, this is the stock gun I'm using. The stock gun is actually the better gun to use. It is essentially identical to the D10 T2S of the T54. So take an opportunity shot on that IS-4 and knock out a tier 10 gun from the game already. T69 manages to get a shot into me, but it's a heat round, so it gets eaten by my tracks. So I went over this way to, as usual, to try and stop them from getting onto our TD ridge. Very poor shot there. I really should aim this a little better. I had the time to do it, but instead I bounced around off the top of a 183 that should have easily gone through if I'd aimed. So I get a shot on the Leopard. He gets one on me. The Leopard won't have much trouble with this thing's hull armor, especially at this distance, but he will have trouble with my turret, just because of the angles of it. So there's quite a few TDs around that corner. I push out just far enough to hit the Leopard. I am battleshipping a little bit, but there's no room to side scrape here. If I tried to, I'd get hung up on the train and probably killed, so even though battleshipping is risking getting hit in the engine, I'd rather do that than get hit broadside by arty. Not that it matters, because if arty hits my engine deck, it's going to fuck me over anyway. So I take a shot at the 62A, unfortunately bounces. Ours blocks me somewhat. Another unlucky shot there. Enemy 62A is lit on fire by ours, which is good. That's a tier 10 medium who's going to be running and hiding as fast as he can. Managed to get a shot on that guy and then back off. Attempt to use R62 as ablative armor. It doesn't matter though, because our Roomba takes out theirs. So still an E4 around the corner, which I'm not really keen to push into, as well as the 183 and the JT, and the Leopard's further back there somewhere. So I know this isn't likely to pen, but I take a shot at the JT just in case. Sure enough, it bounces. I switch to heat. I figure I'll pen him through his casemate with that. Unfortunately, it's kind of a ropey shot. I think that hit his gun mantlet, or close to it. And then 1,025 damage hit from the arty. Right on my engine deck. You can see where it landed, just in front of the turret. I'm very lucky he didn't one-shot me with that. It was my bad play. I was just driving back and forth in a very predictable manner. There's really no way you could have missed that. I was looking to get some little vulture kills there on the Leopard and the JP2, but unfortunately for me, my teammates are actually on the ball and managed to kill them first. I decide rather than assaulting their base frontally, I'll just slide down the hill here, give myself a bit more room to maneuver. Hopefully separate myself out from the pack so I don't get focused down. Enemy Waffenträger hasn't left their base. Terrible, terrible player. Absolute waste of the best tier 10 TD in the game. He is actually firing now, but it's too late. He's already lost his team the game. Enemy Conquerors pushed up to our base, as well as the Löwe. Doesn't really matter. We've got guys up there that can take care of them. You can see we had a pattern hanging out in our base, M46, or two patterns rather, they're both patterns. So they're managing to hold the line with the ISU, and the M103s coming up the rear. I'm looking for a snipe shot into this guy because I'd like to actually get some more damage in. This seems to be about average for me in this tank. I don't get nearly as much damage as I do in my other Soviet tanks. I think it's just because I haven't quite learned how to play it yet. Because it does have a very good gun and it does have a pretty good chassis. It's just a case of getting used to it. So I get one shot into the Waffenträger before Oz pushes into him. So you can see here that controlling basically the 1 and 2 lines is the way to win this map from the north, and the way to win this map from the south is to control the A and B lines, basically to prevent enemy TDs from getting set up and sniping across. So not a huge damage game, only about, I think I didn't get any blind shots in, so 2.7k damage. It's not great. I mean, it's not terrible. It's better than most players could probably get in a tier 10 even, but it's still not great. I'm used to getting probably like about that in my 416, which is the tank before this one. In my 430, I get, you know, my average damage, even including games where I just completely potato out, is about the same. So, yeah, it's going to take some getting used to, I think. I actually free XP'd the Object 430 and then came back and bought this afterwards because I wanted both tanks, but I wanted the tier 10 first. So this is actually one of the better grinds in the game, though. I should mention that while I'm here. It starts out stock with a turret that has exactly the same armor layout as its top turret. It has a decent engine. It has its best gun is actually its stock gun, the M63 from the Object 416. It's pretty much analogous to the T-54's D10 T2S. It can also carry the D-54, but like on the T-54, you're better off using this gun. So it's got a good gun. The other thing I should point out is that even without upgrading the tracks, without enhanced torsion bars, anything, just on the stock tracks, you can mount turret, gun, or not gun, sorry, turret, keep the stock gun because it's a better gun, and equipment. If you mount the gun, the D-54, I think you need to upgrade the tracks, but you shouldn't be doing that anyway. So you can basically go through and mount everything except the tracks, and then research the tracks last to give yourself that little bit more agility and whatever else bonus they confer. I'm not sure, I haven't looked up the self stats for this thing. So it is probably one of the least painful grinds in the game. It's just a case of I wanted my glorious T-64 prototype in a hurry, so I free XP'd the tier 10. But not a bad tank, just takes a little getting used to. No doubt in the future I will eventually learn how to play it and you'll see some more impressive games come up. But for now, it's just a case of figuring out what it can and can't do.